welcome to Energy First Golf. In this video is the last part of the 4 videos of the series of a downswing. So today, the last part, of course, we have talked about the hips, the torso, the core, and the arms. Now we're going to talk about the club. Okay? Now in this video, you guys watch how you grip the club. So if you have any questions, go back to that video, watch it, and let us know if you have a hard time dealing with the grip. But today we're going to be talking about solely on what the club is doing through the ball. Okay? Now a lot of you, if you play tennis, if you play any type of racquetball, we already know that there's really a 3 movement the racket or the club is getting through the ball. So I'm going to show you right here. The first movement is what we call the primary motion. The club is actually turning through the ball. Okay, the club is turning through the ball. And the second movement is called a block. Now if you play tennis, a lot of times a tennis racket would do this to the ball. And the first movement is really called the top spin, right? You're letting the racket get through like this. So what I showed you earlier, that was the first movement. And the second movement is called the block. You're blocking back. Okay, you are also doing that with what? A golf club. Okay, it's called a block. Now remember, when I say block, it's not a bad thing. I know there's like verbiage, hey, I blocked the shot to the right. That's different block than what I'm saying when I say block. It's called the block spin, or on the primary motion, I call the top spin, right? So that's the second movement. Now, the third movement, it's called a cut. So let me show you. So the club can get through the ball like this, okay, with a cut, which in tennis term, you can see some players will slice the ball, right? Slice the ball. So you cut the ball. So we got primary motion, the top spin, this. The secondary motion is called the block. And the third is called the cut. And you are absolutely doing that with the golf club. But remember, with Energy First Golf, in the beginning, you were, as you remember, we talked about how the first stage of learning golf is called power struggle. When you're dealing with power struggle, you absolutely have to learn the primary motion, which is the rip, or what I talked about earlier, top spin, or if really in a golf term, it's called the compressional movement. You're turning through the ball. Okay? So the club is going to turn through the ball. Okay? Now, in other videos, I'm going to be on the range. I'm going to show you what that movement does to the ball. Okay, it's very important. And I know a lot of you say, hey, how do I compress the ball? And how do I make the ball go lower or go straighter, have more ball speed? Okay, because ball speed is very important to your shot being more forgiven, has a lot more forgiveness to it. It's because if you have a lot more compression, you will have a lot more ball speed. Okay? So that is the first movement. Alright? So, we talked about all 4 parts of the downswing sequence. Alright, so now I'm going to show you, we're going to put everything together in a very slow motion. So that way, I'm going to explain to you what all those 4 parts, the 4 steps of the downswing. Okay, so first I'm going to go to the setup, good posture, flat back, all right, way in the middle of my shoes. So I'm going to lower my body and I'm going to turn with my hips and my core. Okay, I'm going to turn very slowly. Now remember, if I turn very slowly, my arms are not going to go very high up. Okay, and I keep turning. And then right about there, I'm going to have a wrist hinge movement. In other videos, we're going to talk about specifically what wrist hinge means. Okay? So on the downswing, we're going to weight transfer. Okay? You will feel a lot of leg muscles that are working for you, and your core muscles, and your hip muscles, and your glute muscles. And then you're going to continue to turn your hips, and then now you're going to turn your core. As you can see, I'm going to keep turning it down, and right about there, you will feel like your arms are going to rotate. Okay, your arms are going to rotate, and they keep rotating. Now, as you're rotating arms, guess what the club's doing? The club's also rotating. Okay, and you can see I continue to rotate, because if you're going very fast, everything going to extend this way. Now remember, this is extension of the arms, but you're not extending it because why? You're not pushing your arms out. Your body is throwing the arms this way as they're turning and the club's turning. And then you finish. Okay? So that, in a nutshell, is how you finish the downswing. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Click here to subscribe to our channel. If you want more Energy First Golf instructions, I will think these two videos you will find interesting.